Hey, what's going on, guys? In a previous video, I covered this 9-step course outline I cover in my school community called the Lead Farming Blueprint. And it covers the 9 steps it takes for you to grow a successful pay-per-lead agency in one vertical as a one-person owner with 2 to 3 VAs. And this model is what I've done myself and is what I recommend. And in a previous video, I covered these briefly, and this video I'm going to just go through in a bit more detail. In this video, I'm going to cover in a bit more detail each of the 9 steps and talk about the 2 or 3 modules we cover in each of those in the paid school community, Paper Lead Pros, and you can get a link to that down below. Right now, it's $59 a month for the first 10 members, but after those first 10 spots are filled, it's going up by $10 a month. So jump in while you can. But yeah, I'll just cover now each of the 9 modules. So let me start. So yeah, here we go. The 9-step blueprint, the hidden costs of retainer agencies. Okay, so here's the 9-step blueprint. First, we're going to cover how to go from 5K retainers or 3 to 5K retainers up to 50K monthly profit. How to transform your digital agency into a lead gen powerhouse. So this will reveal the 9-step system used by elite marketers to escape the retainer hamster wheel and build a profitable paper lead agency. Now, step 1 really is the mindset and model shift. So you got to stop thinking about the retainer approach. This is why a majority of agencies can't scale, is that they are stuck in the retainer trap. And so what that means is they're stuck selling their time, and they're essentially an employee to those companies, even though they're getting paid 3 to 5K a month. When that client says jump, you got to say how high. So that's the problem with retainer model. You are more of a time slave, and you're getting paid to do work. You're not getting paid on results. So by shifting to a paper lead model, we get people to pay you for that thing, which is essentially a digital product. It's a bunch of data. And so whether you're lying on a beach or working in your office, or it doesn't matter where you are, as long as the leads are coming in and the client's getting good leads, they're happy. They can't ask you to do this or that. And that's the beauty of Paper Lead. I think one of the greatest things about it is that shift in the client and agency relationship, where you're no longer their lackey or their employee, essentially. So yeah, I used to be, an 80K a month agency owner, and that 30K went to staff, 15K went to overheads, and the rest was like taxes. So like what was left behind for me and my business partner wasn't that much. We would have been better off getting a job. So when I found the paper lead model, it made a lot of sense, because it meant that we could scale profit and income without more team or more overhead, essentially. So the lead farming model is where you build your own assets and business. This creates predictable revenue by having leads sold for a particular price. And one brand serving 20 buyers, you can be at a lot higher revenue multiple and profit multiple than 20 individual clients, and a lot less of a scurrying hamster and a monkey than you would be. So when we cover this, success psychology and commitment framework required, how to overcome imposter syndrome when charging premium lead prices. It is hard in the beginning sometimes to confidently say what your leads cost and send that invoice out. Sometimes not knowing whether the leads are going to be up to scratch or not, but you need to take that risk early, and so we show you how to do that. And we help you set realistic expectations. In the beginning, lead costs are going to be higher, and your costs are probably not going to leave a lot of profit in that early period. But what I wish I had when I started out was a community or a mentor to help explain this to me and, prevent me from getting too emotional when things aren't going too well, and then keep me focused on the bigger picture. Moving on to step 2, niche selection and market validation. So this is where we're going to choose your $1 million niche. Has to meet certain criteria. It has to be high value. It has to have the right competition, the right buyer levels. It has to be national or a broad market size, so that you can scale, and it's not a local business like restaurants, gyms, real estate agents. These typically they have very low lead values, and they have not enough buyer diversity or volume in order to really scale. So we cover in this module market research and validation, how we go about that, using Meta Ad Library to validate demand and competition, how we research what buyers will pay, and the buyer landscape audit. We'll identify 50 plus potential clients before you start to make sure there's a solid industry there. And then competitive intelligence and positioning, we reverse engineer successful lead gen brands in your chosen vertical, finding the white space opportunities competitors are missing. We're going to create a unique value proposition that commands premium prices. In step 3, we look at how to build your lead generation empire. We use AI tools to help come up with naming strategies that build trust and authority, and it has the right look and feel about it. Combine it with a logo and visual identity that converts rather than just looking pretty. You'll establish credibility from the start. And then website and landing page architecture, the simple 3-step funnel structure that generates most leads. Basic homepage with clear value prop, landing page optimized for conversion, and a thank you page that builds trust. Mobile design, we cover all of that stuff. Legal and compliance, so this does vary by vertical and geography, but we'll make sure you have the right privacy policies, terms of service, and TCPA compliance to protect your business. Step 4, funnel creation and optimization. This is where the rubber meets the road. We're going to create a quiz funnel using my psychology principles of micro commitments and segmentation to drive higher conversion rates. We'll test advertorial funnels because these are often underused and can produce high quality leads, definitely. And then multi-step forms as well. We're going to target a 10% conversion rate as a benchmark to know if your page is up to scratch. And so we're generally recommending Unbounce as the landing page builder so that we can easily measure conversion rate and we can do A/B testing. Step 5, traffic generation and ad mastery. Here we're going to dive deeply into Facebook and Meta ads, the campaign structures we use for lead gen, which differ from e-commerce or awareness, the creative frameworks including skid ads, UGC, and native style content performing best, and will help with your audience targeting and best way to set up the pixel. Multi-platform traffic diversification. We're going to make sure you're diversified across Google ads, TikTok ads, and Meta so that you're not reliant on one traffic source. It's a bit dangerous to just be stuck on or reliant on one traffic source. If that goes down, you are in trouble. Creative production and testing. We'll have modules on AI tools like ArcAds to enable rapid creative production, and a framework where we can take 5 hooks and 5 bodies and create 25 variations in a very short period of time. So this helps with massively with ad testing and finding winners. Step 6, we'll go over client acquisition and sales. Finding and closing lead buyers is key. Starting with smaller buyers when you begin, building confidence and getting feedback, and then moving up to mid-size and enterprise level clients, because you only really get one shot at a particular client. If they're not happy with their leads after one batch, they're very rarely going to buy again. So it's important that we test the market and your leads with smaller buyers, where if you lose them, it's not the end of the world. But when you do get an opportunity with a bigger, medium, or enterprise level client that your leads are good quality, you can supply the volume, and then very high chance they'll be happy and buy again and again, which is what we want, and we need that to get to 100K a month and stay there. So the order is really important. Step 7 will cover operations and fulfillment. So I'll go over my agency structure around lead distribution and where we get VAs to plug in and help with operational things day to day. There is a fair bit of menial work with a paper lead agency that, sometimes you're sitting there processing leads from last night the next morning to buyers because you want to get some money back for those. So you have to process late night leads in the morning, and that's something VAs can help with. We'll cover quality control and client satisfaction, how we get feedback loops and performance monitoring to identify issues early. Because at the end of the day, proper systemization allows your lead generation business to run without constant oversight, increasing profitability and sale value, but also removing you from the minutiae and doing everything yourself. And you really need to focus at a higher level, because I've seen paper lead agency owners fail because they thought they had to do everything themselves in the beginning. They thought they had to do the coding, the Zapier work, the the lead processing, the selling, the ads, and I've seen people try and do it all themselves and fail. So that's not the way I recommend it. Step 8, we cover scaling and optimization. This is how we grow from sort of 10K to 50K monthly profit through vertical expansion. So I prefer trying to stay in one vertical and go as deep as possible, expand vertically, and then maybe add some different services like AI chatbots or go high level automations to their leads, A, to bring more revenue, but B, to improve the quality and result for that client. We're going to target a profit margin of 50 to 60%, which is high on average, but that's possible. You can get the cost per lead down and get your pricing right. Revenue multiplication, we want to go from 10 to 50K monthly profit, like I said, with multiple revenue streams, and creates more resilience and higher sale price in your business if you've got lead income as well as maybe some SaaS recurring or AI income as well. And then finally, we'll cover step 9, exit strategy and wealth building. We look at what makes a lead gen business worth 4 to 6x multiples. Things like predictable revenue, documented processes, operational independence from the owner. All these things we need to look at and improve. And then exit preparation and sale, and then wealth preservation and next step. So, that's the overview of the 9-step course in detail, which I cover in my paid school community, PaperLead Pro. Links down below if you want to check it out. Currently, the first 10 members will get a special discounted price of $59, and that will quickly go up after the first 10 members. It'll go up to $69 and then again. So jump in if you're interested and look forward to seeing you in there. Thanks.